moment. Good to see you guys. Okay, where
You
are
ready?
we? Yeah, we're 3 minutes in.
Oh,
So
Herman.
I think it's time. I think we
I
should
think it's
begin.
time.
You, Khadijah, or would you like to just, how should we begin? Okay, first of all, hold on. Everybody's muted again. Okay, good. I think so. Okay, so now I've lost Khadijah. Where are you, Khadijah? Where are you? Great. Okay, great. Thank you. So, um, so Reverend Dr. Khadijah Mateen will introduce us, will introduce the class by way of welcoming us to land. She has Native American ancestry. I believe there's some Cherokee in there. Khadijah, you correct me if I'm wrong. And as we have been doing in our ISC classes, and I think some of the One Spirit Seminary classes, is when we're in New York, we are welcome to the land to be able to do our ceremony, to do our rituals by a native of the lands of the First Nation. So without further ado, Khadijah, please.
Greetings, everyone. As now the elder, in the spirit of my ancestors, Onondaga, Arapaho, Cherokee, Creek, and the African, I welcome you to our land. I welcome you to this space. I welcome you because Great Spirit has called all of us to come in this time, in this moment, acknowledging our ancestors as we walk in, as we come together with our hearts, asking permission of all the people we hold in our hearts and all the people who, those that we held dear, who have passed on in this time, for them to learn the new ways to be spirit. So we say welcome as we cross treacherous waters to get a fuller sense of how we as people can then begin to hear the truth as Great Spirit would wish that we all would hear the truth in healing, in understanding, in song, and in our dance, in listening to the animals and the insects, and understand. So we welcome as we embrace all the ways that we are and in all the ways that we call Great Spirit, we gather and we give thanks that we are able to do so. And so I say, Aho, Ashe,
Aho,
Amen.
Aho, Ashe, Amen. Thank you, dear Khadijah. So I'm going to begin with a poem as prayer from Rainier Maria Rilke from the Book of Hours. I live my life in ever-widening circles, each superseding all the previous ones. Perhaps I never shall succeed in reaching that final circle, but attempt I will. I circle around God, the ancient tower, and have been circling for 1,000 years, and still I do not know. Am I a falcon, a storm, or a continuing great song? Like these ever-widening circles in a lake after a pebble has been tossed, the ripples that this coronavirus has created in our worlds are both widening, taking us into uncharted territories and an increasingly uncertain future. And at the same time, they're narrowing, restricting our circles. That physical distancing and closed-off activities we have all been experiencing, necessitating a deep dive into depths of soul to know what really truly matters in our lives. One thing I have heard asked over and again from the shamans of the high Andes, where I did some training with them in Peru, whenever they are offered something new, they always ask, can it grow corn? They're very pragmatic people living in a place with few resources, like many of us are, even now. So they welcome practical tools. They welcome practical tools. I would like to offer you several of these tonight as tools to embody prayer as we endeavor to meet soul and nature in these trying times. So to begin, I will share with you how we create sacred space before any spiritual ritual or ceremony. There are two powerful ways we create this space. One is calling in the directions, and the other is expanding the 8th chakra, which I will describe and we'll talk a little bit about. But the first creates this sacred space of the ecosphere. The second creates the sacred space of the noosphere, that inside place. These sacred spaces share the basic concepts that all of life is interrelated and interdependent. In connecting with others of impeccable intent and in partnership with Spirit, we are empowered to envision and manifest a world that is dynamic and evolving. Sacred space is a healing sphere that is pure, holy, and safe. We can create sacred space and summon the healing power of nature anywhere on earth. Much of our fear and pain derives from the feeling that the world is not a safe place for us. Maybe this is how we are feeling with COVID-19, or know of many who are feeling this way. Within sacred space, everyone is protected. When we open sacred space, we leave behind the affairs of ordinary life, the bustling world of meetings and schedules, the tons of Zoom hours we're putting in, and we prepare to meet the divine. Sacred space allows us to enter our quiet inner world where healing takes place. Within sacred space, our burdens become lighter, and we can be touched by the hand of Spirit. This prayer to open sacred space in this manner comes to me from the lineage of the Laika, the high shamans of the Peruvian Andes. If you would like to join in, we'll begin with calling in the archetypes of the south direction, then proceeding through each of the directions in kind, west, north, east, then Pachamama, Mother Earth, concluding with the heavens and Great Spirit. You can remain seated or stand with me, and with Zoom, it's been great to be able to stand for a while. So I could turn to each of the directions. So turn either whether you're sitting or standing, okay? And if you don't know where your directions are, whip out the iPhone, open the compass, look on your computer, guess, look out the window and see if the moon is rising. If you can see that big, beautiful full moon rising here in the east, that's the east direction. If you see the setting sun, it's the west. Okay. At the end of each call, I will proclaim loudly, Aho. Feel free to join in with your own resounding Aho at the end. Life is not a spectator sport, and neither is this session. Okay. When I open the directions, I spritz flower water. It has the essence of flowers and scents and beauty, and also alcohol, pure alcohol. And what we do is open the space for the spirits to come in, and we're honoring them and blessing them with the fragrances of beautiful flowers. So I will begin in the south. Winds of south, Sachamama, great serpent, come wrap your coils of light around us. Help us shed our past like you do your skin all at once. Mother of waters, cleanse our eyes so our souls may see the beauty in me and you. You who walk belly to belly with the mother, remind us, teach us to walk lightly on the earth. Ho! And then to the west, winds of west, mother, sister, jaguar, otrongo, puma, panther, the cat family leading the top of the food chain, having no enemies on this side or the next. Teach us to be impeccable, to walk with integrity, to walk fearless on this land, knowing we have no enemies on this side or the next. Come pat around our space tonight. Help us create this safe and sacred space. Ho! And to the north, winds of north, Siwarakinte, royal hummingbird, essence of joy and beauty, reminding us to drink only of the sweet nectar of life, and that we are all on an epic journey, like this journey of the migration of hummingbirds from Canada to Central America. On tiny wings, not even meant for flight. If they can do it, so can we, and we are appreciative of this support. Home of the ancestors, the ancient ones, the ones who've come before and laid down the paths, helping us to follow in their footsteps. Also, it is the place of the people of the lands, the First Nations. And here where I stand, I thank the Haudenosaunee, the Mohican, the Wampanoag. And I also thank the lineage of the Laika who've brought me these teachings. Ho! And to the east, winds of east, eagle, Panka, Condor, Apushi. Fly down from your perch high in the sacred mountains. Come, help us unfold our wings so we too may soar wingtip to wingtip with great spirit. Teach us to have vision, to see the big picture, the curve of the earth, and the tiniest details on the ground. And the Apus, the mountain spirits, all around the world, holding this world together with strength and duration. We thank you. Ho! And now we step down to the mother, Pachamama, great mother. Pachamama, great mother. You who nurture our being, you who cradle our souls. We're so grateful for all of your gifts. We're grateful for the moistures you provide, the microbials, even the coronavirus. For the mosses, the mycelials, the lichens, the plant people, the ferns, the two-leggeds, the four-leggeds, the many-leggeds, the one-leggeds, the winged, the finned, and the furred, Mama. All of your creatures, all of our relations, we thank you. Ho! Finally to the heavens. Father Sun, Inti Taita. Grandmother Moon, Mama Kia, in all your fullness. Star Nation, star brothers and sisters. We are grateful for the light you provide, for the reminder that we are all stardust from whence we come. And source of all this great beauty, you who are called by 1,000 names, none quite capturing the mystery, the elegance, the beauty, the wild expansiveness. We thank you for this opportunity to sing and dance and to pray one more night on this beautiful earth. Ho! Welcome all. Now you may remain standing if you are standing. I have one other way to create sacred space. In this space, this is what Teilhard de Chardin called the Noosphere. So we just welcomed the ecosphere, now we're welcoming the Noosphere. And I liken this to the world soul. This is where we share in global consciousness to envision the fulfillment of humanity's highest potential. To create this space, we utilize the light of the eighth chakra. We call it the Wirtakocha. It resides outside of the physical body, but within the luminous energy field that those who can see or those who know about energy medicine know. We all have this somewhere around our bodies. And right about the top, 8 or 10 inches, maybe 12 inches, depending on your arm length, above the crown, is this Wirtakocha. It's amplified many times when we can expand this radiant orb of light and rest within it. It is that part of us that is always one with God. In this practice, we will include all participants physically present and any of those intending to be a part of this who aren't yet here. Since in this world, time is nonlinear and space is non-local. So those watching even at a later time are also being included. So imagine this small radiant sun above your head. We start with placing our hands in prayer pose in front of our heart chakra. And we slowly raise our hands, keeping them in prayer pose until they're fully above our heads. And then we can sense at the tips of our fingertips this radiant globe, and we turn our hands out, our fingers out, and we slowly sense the spinning sun and feel it, and then open it very slowly like a peacock opening its fan. We expand this to envelop us completely, all the way down till it touches the earth by our feet. And now we reach up again, once more. We reach into this radiant orb of infinite light, infinite energy. This is where we connect with spirit, with God. And we take our hands, we bring them out, and then we envelop the entire globe. All the people on this call, the Netherlands, New Zealand, anywhere around this earth are now included, enveloped within a warm blanket of light, holding us all in stillness and quiet, shielding us from the static of the world. And now you may sit down if you've been standing in whatever way is comfortable for you as we go forward. So now that we are all safely ensconced in sacred space, let me ask, and allow each of us to ask ourselves, who are you? Who am I? You are life passing through your body, passing through your mind, passing through your soul. Once you find that out, not with logic, not with the intellect, but because you can feel that life, you find out that you are the force that makes the flowers open and close, that makes the hummingbird fly from flower to flower. You find out that you are in every tree, in every animal, vegetable, and rock. You are the force that moves the wind and breathes through your body. The whole universe is a living being that is moved by that force, and that is what you are. You are life. That is a quote from the Toltec shaman Don Miguel Ruiz in the Four Agreements. Some of you may know that. You are life. You are life. So, how do we access this life force, this soul, particularly at this difficult time? Well, maybe by engaging with this unplanned quiet time, at least for those of us who have it, who are quarantined at home, can't go out to their favorite places. We have time that we may not have had before. And by allowing quiet time for prayer for those who are even busier than before, we know some of us are, especially the first responders, the medical folks who are on the front lines. And so they may not be able to find that time, and we offer these prayers for them. The soul is shy, just like a wild animal. It seeks safety in the dense underbrush, especially when other people are around. If we want to see a wild animal, we know that the last thing we should do is go crashing through the woods, yelling for it to come out. But if we will walk quietly into the woods, sit patiently at the base of a tree, breathe with the earth, and fade into our surroundings, the wild creature we seek might put in an appearance. We may see it only briefly and only out of the corner of an eye, but the sight is a gift we will always treasure as an end in itself. And that's from A Hidden Wholeness, The Journey Toward an Undivided Life, Parker Palmer. So, how do we keep quiet? How do we get quiet? This is a poem from Pablo Neruda, the Chilean poet, and it was written back in the 50s. In the 50s. Now we will count to 12, and we will all keep still for once on the face of the earth. Let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for a second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm the whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare wars with gas, wars with fire, victories with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lines moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count up to 12, and you keep quiet, and I will go. It was almost like he wrote that last week. So I'm going to offer a meditation if everyone is still with me. I can't tell, I'm just talking to myself here, looking at myself on screen. Let me go to gallery view. We're all still here. Look at that, there's still people. Nobody's left yet, that's good. Sometimes I can get a little righteous when I'm talking about Earth, but it's just the way it is for me. So I have this meditation. I mean, what would a prayer group be without a meditation, right? And it's called, I call it the Tree of Life meditation. And it's funny, it's one of those things that I do, and my wife and colleague and fellow minister, psychiatrist, Mary, uh, has done it independently as well. And we both compared notes. We're like, wait a minute, I did that. No, no, I did that. We both do that because it's such a beautiful way of being involved in the natural world, spiritually as well as meditatively. So, um, if everyone would find a comfortable place, if you would like to lean back a little bit. Now it is getting a little late, so if you're going to fall asleep, stay upright, okay? And you can keep your eyes open and just gaze softly. But if you would like, you can go ahead and close your eyes and just kick back in a comfortable place. I'll give everybody a moment to do that. Okay. So we're going to allow a few breaths and maybe a couple of deep breaths or not, whatever's comfortable for you. Sometimes deep breathing may not be so easy for some, but just notice where your breath is in the moment. And allow it to slow down. Whatever rate you're breathing, allow it to slow down a bit. And I want you to imagine that off in a field somewhere, maybe near your house, if you live near a nice big old 300-year-old oak like we do, or you know of one, or you've seen pictures of one, or you have a friendly tree that you have a relationship with. We've all seen the meme about if you can't hug another person, go hug a tree. They love it. They love it. And so envision this tree as being the largest, widest, tallest tree you have ever seen. And not only that, but it's glowing a bit. It has sparkly edges. And as you're looking at this tree, you see that the branches and the leaves go up into the clouds. You can't even see where they end. And you know it must have massive, deep roots. I want you to approach this tree and ask it gently, would it be okay if you merged with this magical world tree? This tree that has the knowledge that humanity needs. May you merge with this tree and find what it has to offer you. And if the answer is yes, then do so. Find yourself sliding into the trunk, into this massive trunk. There's plenty of room. And if not, then just sit by it. Rest your back and your head and imagine the rest of the meditation. So for those of us who are in this tree, we notice there's a tremendous amount of activity. There are these sparkling lights coming down from somewhere way above from the leaves, taking in the light of the sun, the light of the stars, the light of the moon, and bringing this down deep, deep into the tree and down past where you are into the roots. And you feel into this light driving down and find yourself moving with it, down, down, deep into the ground, into the thick roots of this massive tree, following the roots down, especially this taproot, this center root, which seems to go down forever, passing huge boulders, passing through the deep, moist earth, down, down, down towards the bedrock. And you emerge from this root into an underground stream which feeds this root. This taproot has found its water deep in the earth. And you merge into the stream. And you find the stream cool and refreshing, washing away anything that doesn't belong in this journey. You allow the stream to carry you deeper, deeper into the earth. And you find yourself bumping against the shore on the other side. You climb out of the stream, and there's a field, an openness. Or maybe you see something different. Maybe you see a forest, an underground cavern, cave, forest, whatever you see, walk towards it, because there is information there for you. And as you approach whatever you're seeing, there's a being there, walking toward you to meet with you. And this being, male or female, it's even difficult to say, but this being knows you, knows the troubles you've been bringing, the troubles you've been dealing with, the difficulties of this particular time on the surface of the earth, and has information for you, what you need to hear in this moment. And you open to whatever that is. Maybe it comes across as words, maybe as a song, maybe as some sounds, maybe as a gentle breeze, but you have a knowing that something is being shared with you. Mother Earth is giving you the message you need to hear in this moment. And when you feel complete, that it has landed in you, and you've noted it, and you will recall it, you will know what the message is for you. You give thanks, immense gratitude for offering you what you need to know and what you need to have right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And after a little bow, raise your head and you head back across the field to the stream. Climbing into the stream, allowing whatever doesn't belong with you, just the message. Everything else is cleared away. You follow the stream back up to where the taproot is drinking. And you merge with the taproot and go up, 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 up past the boulders and the deep, cool, moist earth, the mycelial connections through all of the roots, noticing the complexity, incredible complexity of life beneath the soil. And then as you rise up, just when you think the trip is complete, you are feeling the nutrients rising, carrying you up the roots into the trunk, and it doesn't stop, and you continue up, 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 up. This is the tallest tree. The branches begin to finally branch. You feel like you're in the clouds. the leaves open into whiteness. And you realize this must be part of the heavens that you have now emerged into. And you notice there are beings here as well. And the first one to approach says to you, now you recognize that you are the conduits between heaven and earth. And I have something to share with you as well. And you just open to whatever's being offered, holding on to what you received from deep in Pachamama, making space for this new bit of information. And maybe it's just a feeling, maybe it's just a prayer. And maybe it's just gratitude for knowing who you truly are. And again, you give thanks with a little bow. Incredibly grateful for these gifts of the universe to you personally. And then you float back to the tops of the leaves, the branches, and you merge with them and start going down, coming out of the clouds, following the rivers of light down, down, down into the trunk of this tallest tree, and further down you go, eventually arriving at ground level, emerging from this massive trunk of the tree, turning towards it with a deep bow, thanking it for carrying you, thanking it for sharing its knowledge. Thank you for offering your gifts. And then you slowly walk or float back to where you recall your bodies are in this moment. And you slowly emerge, keeping your eyes closed if you need to, but recalling the gifts, recalling what you were given. And in a prayerful manner, say thank you. Not to me, but to the tree, to Mother Earth, to the heavens. And if you would like to take a moment to jot something down, type something in, please do. Of course, if this was seminary class, an elective, if it was ISC, we would then discuss some of the gifts, but we're going to just hold them in this venue. And know that this meditation is available to you at any time. The tree of life, the world tree, many different ways to visualize it, is there, is part of our heritage as well. Okay. So I have one final poem and a closing song. But before I do, if we have a few minutes, if there is anyone who feels moved, who needs to say a prayer, to share a prayer, if there's something that needs to be said, please raise your hand, wave your hand, type it in the chat box, whatever you need to do. Arlie Leonard, where are you, Arlie? Are you unmuted?
Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Great, there you are.
Hi, did you want me to share something or to offer a prayer?
Sure, you can do what you feel called to. Okay.
Okay, well, just taking a deep breath in, what came to me was powerfully about holding paradox. And at this time, I was just writing to someone who was saying black men should take up arms. And I spoke as a love warrior. And that's what we're being called to be right now while we're in our growing time. And we're in this transfiguration time. I'm in Andrew Harvey's Engoldenment course.
Okay, that explains it.
Yeah, but I was down in the roots and the message was keep singing, and I smiled and the sun came all the way down the hallway for just a moment and lit me in the kitchen. And then I'm up in the heavens and the message was keep loving, and all of a sudden all the sirens went by. And so the light and the dark and the sirens in the heavens, and it was hold paradox and be able to, and that's my feminine power training too, just to be able to hold all of it and to keep moving forward powerfully, because the world needs us to keep moving forward powerfully. So that's my invitation.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Powerful. There's a lot of paradox, just like the beginning with the ever-widening circles that seem to want us to do more, yet at the same time, we need to be centered and quiet and know what it is before we do what we need to do. Beautiful. Anyone else? We can do one more in the interest of time. Thank you, Arlie. Okay. Oops, there's a chat. Let's see. Powerfully lovely. Keep moving forward. Powerfully lovely. Thanks. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, so I will look at the last chat. Okay. So we're going to go to this closing poem. It was one that was on the Spiritual Directors International has been having these sort of, I guess, sessions to help people understand what's going on from different perspectives and how do we counsel people in these wild and crazy times. And I just loved the poem, and it's from one of my favorite authors, favorite nature authors, Wendell Berry. And I call this the nature poem as antidote for fear of coronavirus. The peace of wild things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives might be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. So we will close the directions, and then we will have our closing song. But I want to ask you, before we leave in ceremony, wherever you are at the close of this prayer group, please either step outside, open a window, look out the window if you can't get out, look at your plant, your cat, your puppy, your animals, and make a connection with real nature to really ground what we just experienced here tonight. Okay, so I'm going to close directions without the floral water. We're going to let our spirits return and be grateful that they have. And we'll do it in the same order in which we began. So I'll start in the south and we'll go from there. So. Okay. Oh, beautiful. Winds of South, Sachamama, Great Serpent, thank you so much for wrapping your coils of light around us, helping us shed what needed to go. Thank you for reminding us to walk closely and lightly on the earth, taking care of Pachamama. Thank you for reminding us that we can transform, we can let it all go. And we appreciate all the support and know that you give to the people of Earth. Ho! To the west. Winds of West, Mother, Sister, Jaguar, Otorongo, Boom, Panther, Mountain Lion, Cat. Thank you for padding around our space, for creating sacred space with us here tonight, bringing your fearlessness, your integrity, impeccability, teaching us that we need to step up. We need to step up. We need to be fearless even when we're afraid. And we can sit when we need to sit. But thank you for being with us. Ho! And to the north. Winds of north, Siwat Kinte, Royal Hummingbird, you who brought us the joy, reminding us to drink of the sweet nectar of life, to travel this epic journey, knowing we are all on an epic journey, and we all will do what we need to do. And we have the ancestors who have the knowledge, who've been guiding us. And there are those who are yet to be who are calling us into the future. And those who come from these lands, who've held these lands so they are still here. The local First Nations. We are so grateful to have been able to participate and to do our ceremony, to do our prayers, and to have them honored and blessed by you all. Thank you. Ho! And then to the east. Winds of east, eagle, condor. It is time. The prophecies all say it is time for the eagle to fly with the condor, for the beauty of the south, the warmth, the feminine, to merge with the north, with the aggression, with the male, and to both temper each other into a place, a world, a vision where we see all that we need to see. And we are grateful to the Apus, the mountain spirits, the powerful mountains holding the earth together all around this world, the sacred places, the holy places. May we make pilgrimage to those that are holding our space in our local place. Ho! Pachamama once again. Pachamama, great mother. We are so grateful for being the foundation of our lives, for giving us everything we need to experience life on this plane in the physical world, for teaching us that we have so much to learn from all of your creatures, and knowing that we are an integral part of this world. We have been evolved to be aware of who we are. We can make choices. We can make good choices. We can make bad choices. But the choice is ours to learn and grow, and we know we always have your support. So grateful. Thank you. Oh, heavens, Father Sun, Inti Taita, you set over here and maybe rising elsewhere in the world. Grandmother Moon, Mama Kia, in all your fullness for all the world, we are grateful for the light you reflect and bring to us, the softer light, the feminine light. So grateful. And the stars, the day-blind stars for some of you, and the stars coming out for others, and the stars that are and have been out for even others. So grateful that one of these stars gives us life, the sun, and that there's probably life everywhere. We are grateful to know this is who we are and this is where we have come from. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Source of all this wonder and beauty. We have sung and danced another day, and we are still here, and we know the sun will rise tomorrow. Thank you. Ho! Thank you all for participating in this deep dive into nature with me, into spirit and nature, into soul and nature. The closing song is the Cherokee Morning Song. It's sung by Willela, and Willela is actually the Cherokee word for hummingbird. The group was Rita Coolidge, her sister Priscilla, and Priscilla's daughter, Laura Satterfield, all of Cherokee ancestry. The words are very simple. They are Wende Yaho, and they translate to, I am of the Great Spirit. It is so. It is so. So I leave you with this as we go out. So David, go ahead. We can take our Weird coaches back up and bring them into the golden light of the orb above our heads, the 8th chakra. And we can take some of that beautiful, juicy energy, scoop some up and bring it down to each of our chakras, our crown, third eye, our throat chakra. We inform each one with the energy of spirit, our heart chakra, third chakra, second, the sacral, the root, and there's always a little left for Pachamama. And we give her a little bit at the bottom. Love you all. Thank you for being with me, allowing me to do this. Blessings. Blessings.
You can unmute and say goodbye.
Oh, great.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Bye, Ed.
Good night.
So
Thank
much
you,
for
ladies,
Good
so
night.
much.
Bye.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Khadija,
Thank
for
you,
opening.
Yes,
You're
thank you.
welcome.
Bye.
Thank you
Dance
all.
under the full moon, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
See
check
you
out
later.
that
Happy
moon.
full moon, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's
Full
full moon.
flower moon. Yeah.
It's me.